microphone on?
Alrighty, microphone's on.
Alrighty, so I'd like to call to order the regular session of the Leavenworth City Planning Commission, Monday, January 6th. We have a quorum for the meeting, but we do not have a quorum from the December meeting, so we are not going to review the December minutes.
Correct, since Chris Murphy, who is our new commissioner, was not present at the December meeting, he could not vote on the December minutes, so we would need 4 members who were present then to vote, so we'll just wait until our meeting next month.
Okay, good. Well, in that case, I guess we have one issue to discuss. A special use permit for 869 Sherman Avenue. Could we have the staff report, please?
Yep, so thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request for a special use permit for 869 Sherman Avenue to allow a 2-family dwelling in the R16 zoning district. R16 is a single-family zoning district, and 2-family dwellings are allowed in the district with issuance of a special use permit. This has been functioning as a 2-family dwelling for as long as anyone can remember. The owners are not sure when it was converted. It was prior to their time. We couldn't find anything in city records, so we're thinking it's probably back in the 60s or 50s that it was changed over to a 2-family dwelling. The structure was damaged by fire back in April of 2019, and the development regulations do state that if a structure devoted to a non-conforming use is damaged or destroyed by more than 50% of its fair market value, such building shall not be restored if the use of such building is not in conformance with the regulations of the zoning district in which it is located. So essentially, it was damaged by over 50% of its market value. Since it was damaged by more than 50%, it cannot be returned to the previous use, hence why we're here for the request for the special use permit to allow the 2-family dwelling. So the damage mainly occurred on the first floor unit. There's a unit on the first floor, unit on the second floor. Let me just get up so there's the Google Street View of it. The first floor will be entirely renovated and restored. It'll be all new walls, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, cabinetry, appliances, the whole thing. The second floor sustained a little bit of smoke damage, so they'll be repainting, putting in new flooring and appliances in the second floor. And then the exterior of the property will be cleaned and painted as well. And the parking, or the driveway, you can kind of see the pavement's broken up, and it cuts off about halfway up to the house and then turns into gravel. We don't allow gravel parking anymore, so as part of this restoration, they're going to be paving that entire driveway to bring that up to code as well. So we'll have quite a bit of appeal, added appeal from the outside as part of this restoration. So notification was sent to property owners within 200 feet as required by statute. We have not received any comments or inquiries from those notified regarding the request. So staff would recommend approval of the request, and if you have any questions, I can answer those, and the applicant is here as well.
Any questions for staff? All right, so I'd like to open it for public discussion.
The only question I would have to you, needless to say, is that since you sustained this fire damage, is that you've gone through all the necessary requirements to have all the necessary required permits for this, and ensure when you get through everything, it's going to meet code. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay.
Other questions for the applicant? Other questions for staff?
The property's previously been a 2-family dwelling. I don't think you really need to do too much more. I mean, it's functioned that way, and it's functioned apparently well enough that the surrounding property owners are not raising a question about it. So.
Yeah, and I checked, we didn't have any previous code violations on it. I think maybe grass and weed at some point, but no code violations at this property either, so.
Okay. All right. The applicants don't have nothing to add, then I'll close the public meeting and I'll entertain a motion to accept the special use permit.
I would so make a motion to approve the special use permit for the 869 Sherman Avenue.
We have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second.
Second, all right, all in favor say yay.
Yay.
Yay. Opposed? Nay? The ayes have it. All right, so we passed that.
Okay.
Since we do not have enough members, we're not going to hold the elections for, board or chairman and chairperson or chairperson and deputy chairperson. So we'll hold off on that until next month. Do we have anything for staff?
I just had one more question though on the application. Since it was, the structure was damaged in excess of 50% of the value, then the whole structure will have to be brought up to code, won't it?
No, it's just the use, can't stay, but any of the repairs they're making will have to meet current code.
Okay.
Which means then, that's kind of where I was getting to, is that because of fire damage, that after that occurs and permits they've filed for and all the upgrades are done, there'd probably be an inspection of it to ensure that it meets all applicable codes.
Yes, any building permits obtained, so it'd be like electrical, HVAC, those would typically be the ones we'd see in a residential structure. Those would be inspected by our staff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Anything for us?
Yeah, Commissioner Bonsack had sent in several questions last month, so we'll just kind of go over those quick. You'd asked about clearing trees and grading on the north side of Lecompton near 16th Street. And asked what's happening with the 2 homes built there. We don't have any permits, building permits for that area, so could just be a property owner doing some work.
Now, they did several, quite a little bit of earth moving there, but they didn't really continue it. It's already starting to become
Yeah, it could
overgrown
just,
again, so.
property owners
guess
don't have
they're
to
not-
get a permit to clear trees or anything on their
Yeah.
property, so we didn't have any permits for that. You'd asked what's going into the old stained glass shop. We don't know. The city doesn't require business licenses, so we're not always aware when a new business comes in or one goes out. Asked about the co-op, the Quick Trip at Eisenhower and Fourth. That's actually in Lansing, so that's not in the city of Leavenworth, but the last we knew that it should be opening sometime in 2020. And there are gonna be some improvements to that intersection made as part of that project. I think the plan is to get the Quick Trip open first and then do the improvements to the intersection, so it's not tearing up that whole spot at the same time. Asked about holes being dug all over town. I'm not sure what holes specifically you were talking
Was
about.
that a water line upgrade or something like that? 'Cause
It
there
could have
were-
been, since the water department's not part of the city, we don't necessarily know exactly what they're doing and where, but I know there has been quite a bit of that
Yeah, it
going
seems
on.
like everywhere you went this summer, there were
Yeah,
holes
there
being dug
were a lot of
everywhere.
water, projects going on over the summer, so that was most likely it. PA Kelly's at Spruce and Fifth, asked if anything's ever going in there, again, since we don't require business licenses, and I haven't seen that it's for sale. We wouldn't know that, we haven't heard anything. Asked about the trailers in the Walmart parking lot, those are gone now, but those had been there, those were Hallmark's trailers, and they were repaving their parking lot, so they'd had to move them while they were repaving their lot.
Okay.
So that's why they were there. The fire damaged building at Spruce and Broadway, they've had permits to restore power and do interior work there, so and those were issued back in September, so I'm assuming that all the work's done. I haven't been by lately, but are they still working on it, or?
I can't see if there's any work on that at all.
Okay.
Still has the tape across the door and
Okay,
it's still
yeah, I mean,
plywood over the windows.
they've got
and-
permits.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't have any violations on it. Typically with fire structures, we give them some time a lot of times it takes a while to get through the insurance process, and I mean, it can take, 6 to 9 months to even get that sorted through, so we kind of give property owners a little bit of grace on that. The grading on the vacant lot at Fourth and Santa Fe where the pawn shop was, that's where the Care Pharmacy is going.
Now
It's
that's-
coming up out of the ground now. There's some framing going on. There is floodplain in that area, but the work they're doing is working around the floodplain. Grading on the west side of 20th across from New Lawrence. There's gonna be a new West Star, Evergy now, substation at that location. And I believe their agreement with the city, it's gonna be a couple of years before they put that in, but they had agreed to put in a sidewalk ahead of time, go ahead and get that in. So if there's work going on up there, it's probably in relation to that. Asked why there's no development in Leavenworth. That's a pretty broad question. I mean, we've had a number of things come through. A lot of times when developers come in, if projects aren't public knowledge, we're not allowed to really comment on them. But there have been a number of inquiries. The city's got a full incentive package that they offer, and is actively marketing the city. So there are projects going on in and around.
Okay.
Asked about the brick building on Spruce west of 19th where the old photo studio was. The last we heard, it was potentially going to be a restaurant. Again, since we don't issue business licenses, we don't always know for sure if something fits within the zoning. They don't have to get any approval from us to open their business. There haven't been any building permits pulled on that. I know they've been in there doing demo work. That doesn't require any sort of permit, but the last we heard was that it was going to be a restaurant. Mama Mia's being under new ownership. It is under new ownership, and as far as we know, they intend to open a restaurant. The owner is a chef who's originally from here and who's worked around the country and is looking to open a restaurant. We're asked where the co-op was relocating. They moved out to the Lansing Industrial Park. I'm not sure if they've opened out there, but that's where they're moving to.
Where was that?
The Lansing Industrial Park.
Okay.
The grading at 20th and Eisenhower, that's all part of Riley's residential development that's been approved and platted.
The one on the northwest corner, yeah, it looks like they were leveling out the land.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You just said 20th and Eisenhower. So I don't think there was any grading on the west side other than what we had talked about earlier where the substation's gonna be. But they're,
On the opposite side from the new subdivision that's going in.
That's part of West Glen, that's right.
I
We
was just
live-
out there
that's
yesterday, and
West
it
Glen.
looks like they're not working out there anymore. It looks like they've leveled out, like maybe preparing the site to put it up for sale or something. Maybe that is all they're doing. There's a house
catch up.
there, and everything east of the house and between there and 20th Street has been leveled out really nice so that it's,
On the west side
yeah, right
over
there,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Between
Yeah, I'm not
the
sure. We don't
house.
have any.
That's
I mean,
a couple
there's-
of lots there.
Yeah,
huh?
they're separate lots. We don't have any, any proposals or anything.
So you haven't had
yeah, I haven't
anything on
heard
that.
anything. And then you had asked about the fence posts, for the storage there at 20th and Spruce. That was gonna be security or storage. They obtained a fence permit. As far as we know, they're just gonna do some outside storage, which they're allowed to do, in the zoning district.
Now,
And
they
then-
reduced the size of the fenced-in area.
Yeah, they had mistakenly put the fence posts in the floodway where they were not supposed to be, and so once we saw those up, we had to get in touch with them and have them stop and move the fence posts back to where they'd been approved for, so it was approved correctly, they just put them up incorrectly and had to move them once we saw that. And then you'd asked if the revised plan development plan for Metropolitan was approved by the city commission. The project plan has been approved, and we've seen off the record some conceptual site plans, but nothing has been submitted officially for approval yet. So all that's been approved through the city commission is what you all had seen a couple of months ago before it went to the commission.
And I saw a sign on 20th Street yesterday about proposed estate lots would be going up for sale.
Yep, there's a new owner, let me get it up here. So yeah, off of New Lawrence, right here, so off of New Lawrence, between New
Okay.
Lawrence and 20th.
Yes.
This had all been one property, you can kind of see this is split off now, this owner, sold the rest of it. The owner of the larger lot, I think it's about 45 acres, is looking to split that up into 9 residential lots and sell those. They have not submitted a plat yet. You'll see that once that happens. Right now, they're working through some utility issues. They're having to figure out how to serve the property by sewer. and work out some issues with the terrain and that pond that's there. And I think they had mainly put up that sign to kind of start marketing it to make sure they had sufficient interest to move forward with that.
I'm sorry, what about the pond?
There's just some site issues that they're working through.
Because I don't think the pond is permitted, is it, in the state?
It's small enough that the state does not regulate it.
Okay.
So that's not a Riley expansion?
No, that is not Riley. It's Lance Lazinski
Okay.
is the owner of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
There used to be another one just north of it, just behind that house there, that had been created by Beaver, but it doesn't appear to be still there.
Yeah, we had actually checked with the state, our Public Works Department did, and it's kind of in that in-between size. The city doesn't regulate those ponds and the state doesn't regulate ponds of that size, so it's just incumbent upon the property owner to make sure that that's managed,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Yep.
I just had been driving around town and I'd see so many things, I wonder what else is going on there, and so I finally just started putting it in my phone, and
Yep,
And
as
the
always, if
17th.
you see something and have questions, shoot us an email or let us know, and if we don't know, we'll get you an answer, so.
it just seems like we're not growing like some of the areas around us. Lawrence seems to be going like crazy.
I think there's a lot of factors that go into that. I mean, more than just, one or two reasons. So a big part of it is that we don't have direct access to an interstate. And with businesses, even just that short, 7 miles or so up K7 is enough to deter a lot of larger businesses. So the Port Authority and the city are still actively marketing the new industrial park. We've had actually more visits and inquiries than was anticipated. So that will at some point development will start happening there. So we're just kind of in an odd location that we don't have the greatest direct access. So kind of slows things down a bit, among other things.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions, business? All right, so we'll adjourn the meeting.
Yep.
I will say meeting's adjourned.
Okay. And we do have a meeting next month, so we will see you all then, and hopefully more of you.
Yes, that would be nice.